Without objection, I appoint Lonnie Cobb as the secretary. Hearing none, Lonnie Cobb will be the secretary for this evening. Okay, this meeting is a non-statutory business meeting and was called by the Bexar County Executive Committee according to Article 6, Section 1, which states, the Executive Committee shall meet at least every 120 days, including such times as required by Texas Election Code. It shall meet at the call of the county chairman or upon written petition of at least 20% of the Executive Committee. We have received approximately 29% of the required signatures for this censure. This is a special meeting and will be our only item of business. Section 2. The quorum for all non-statutory business shall be 25% of the membership excluding vacancies. To date, we have 239 precinct chairmen. To conduct a quorum, there will be at least 60 people. Madam Secretary, the current Rule 44 censure process and penalty states, a county or senatorial district convention or a county or district executive committee may by a 2/3 vote of those present and voting adopt a resolution censoring a Republican public or party office holder representing all or portion of that county or district for 3 or more actions taken during the current biennium in opposition to the core principles of the Republican Party of Texas defined in the preamble of the party platform as described in Rule 43A. Such a resolution may include a request to the state convention or SREC that named the office holder be penalized. If such a request is included, the delegates of the state convention by majority vote or the state Republican Executive Committee by a 2/3 vote of the full membership may vote to concur with the resolution of censure and declare that no rule or bylaw enacted by any division of the party at any level that demands the party be neutral in intra-party contest shall be observed with respect to the named candidate, and no financial or other support shall be provided to their campaign by the party except that which is required by law. Any such penalty shall expire at the beginning of the state convention following its adoption. We currently have 239 precinct chairmen, so we need a minimum of 60 precinct chairmen to establish a quorum. Madam Secretary, do we have a quorum?
Yes, we have 97 precinct chairs in the country.
Thank you.
Okay. The quorum, we have 97 precinct chairs present.
And as soon as somebody finds a parking police.
And then what would the voting strength be, Madam Secretary?
I haven't figured that out, I'm so sorry.
97 times 0.667.
Oh, multiply by 2 and divide by 30.
Multiply by 2 and
Divided
divide.
by 30.
65 is the number.
65.
That would be the core.
Just bump it up
Somebody phone have a
to,
calculator.
no, just bump it up to 99. 33 times 2 is 66. We don't have 99, we have 97, so it's 65.
The voting strength needs to be 65.
See?
Okay. Without objection, the chair will propose the following temporary rules for this meeting. Number 1, the voting will be done by ballot. Number 2, debate shall be limited to 5 speakers in favor of the resolution and 5 speakers against the resolution. Each speaker shall be limited to 3 minutes each. No delegate may speak more than once on the resolution without general consent. Number 3, no delegate shall speak more than 2 minutes on any amendment to the resolution without general consent. Each amendment shall be limited to 2 speakers in favor of the resolution and 2 speakers against the resolution. No delegate may speak more than once on the resolution without general consent. The chairman shall have authority to extend debate to ensure fairness. Number 4, the motion form shall be used when making amendments to the motion, and thereby our Sergeant at Arms. Number 5, the maximum time limit for this resolution is 1 hour.
Mr. Chairman,
We have an objection.
I rise to offer an amendment to the rules.
Name and precinct.
Jeff Judson, precinct 3020.
Okay, we have a amendment to the rules. Is there a second?
The amendment is that we disallow amendments to the resolution. We have a simple yea or nay vote, rather than opening it up to an endless amount of possible amendments. And I'd like to speak to that.
Okay. Okay. We have a read. Okay. You have me here. Okay. The amendment on the table is that we strike number 3. No delegate shall speak more than 2 minutes on any amendment to the resolution without general consent. And we propose a rule related to amending the resolution and replace it with a rule that no amendments be allowed on the proposed resolution after debate. There will be a simple yea or nay vote. Do you wish to speak to your amendment?
Yes, please.
Okay, you want to go to the microphone? Here's.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if this were a resolution on our opinion about climate change or something, then it would be perfectly appropriate to have a lot of vigorous debate and to perfect the resolution. This resolution probably shouldn't even be called a resolution. It's a Rule 44 censure, and it is written very carefully as more like a criminal indictment, which of course it is not a criminal indictment, but it is written very carefully with evidence and footnotes. Every word is carefully selected to be as accurate as possible. And so when we start amending these words, we're actually diluting the research that went into it that's been footnoted in the document. I think it's actually be inappropriate to change this document. We just vote yea or nay. If you don't like something that's in it, you don't think it's justified, then by all means vote against it, but otherwise it should be a simple up or down vote.
Thank you, Mr. Judson. Is there someone opposed to the amendment on the floor? Anyone opposed to the amendment on the floor?
We're Republicans, where's the fight?
Okay, hearing none. The proposal is we strike the rule relating to amending the resolution, which is number 3, to replace it with a rule that no amendments be allowed on the proposed resolution. After debate, there will be a simple yea or nay vote. All those in favor of striking number 3 and replacing it with amendment, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. No. The ayes have it. The amendment carries.
Mr. Chairman.
Mark.
Chairman.
Mr. Chairman. Vivian Brown, precinct.
Would you please go to the microphone, please?
Vivian Brown, precinct 4066. I'd like to strike number 1, rule 1, and ask for a roll call vote. I'd like each member to go on the record as to their vote, not hide behind a secret ballot. Thank you.
Would you please put your motion in writing?
Yes.
If we have a second on striking, the voting will be by ballot.
Second.
I'm glad they go.
I like this.
Put my name on the list.
We're going to put up the resolution, and then we're going to show a couple of videos, and then we're going to play President Trump's Christmas address. That's important. To get us into the
Okay, Ms. Brown, do you wish to speak to your motion?
I think I just did. Let's go on the record.
Is there anyone opposed to striking the voting will be by ballot?
Point of order. Point of order. There's no written agenda out here for what you're voting on. You haven't stated the rules. I'm reading this, and it doesn't tell me what I'm voting. It just says I can, but it doesn't say what the censure is. And I object to this special call meeting without adequate publication. And Holiday Inn is hard to find, and I think you guys are up to no good. I want you to put something in print, so I know what I'm voting on. I don't see anything up there.
Do you have a motion?
How can you vote on something if you don't see it?
Right now, the motion on the floor is to strike number 1. The voting will be by ballot.
Fine, where's number 1?
The motion was an amendment to the amendment to
Where's
the
the
rules.
State law requires you.
Sir,
Mr.
a
Chairman.
verbal motion.
The precinct chair,
Verbal don't count, Zach.
Mr. Chairman, point of inquiry.
The motion is the temporary rules to be used.
Mr. Chairman, point of inquiry, please.
State your name and precinct.
Kurt Nelson, precinct 3104.
State point of inquiry.
My point of inquiry is, you've read the temporary rules. Is it possible to put them on the screen since we don't have them to look at? Is it possible to at least see what we're voting on? And I think that's the question that's probably being asked here.
Can you put those on the screen? Temporary.
Are we talking about the resolution?
No,
No, the temporary rules that are being presented for us to vote on tonight.
I did not receive that to put on the screen.
Is that a Word document? I mean,
Your scanner?
we're being asked to vote on something that we don't have in front of us either.
It can be read. It can be read, read it. I can do it. You want to? I can't. We just type it in.
Exactly.
You want me to type it?
Yeah, Word document.
All right.
Who knows how to type real
Can you,
fast?
can you kill the lights in front, sir?
That'll work. That'll work. We can take a photo of it.
Do you have email on there?
Do you have internet?
I think we have access to it.
You have internet. Okay, we have access to internet.
Now, if you didn't get cloud.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
I'm working on it.
We're working on it.
Know the rules.
If we could stand at ease for approximately 5 minutes while we get the proposed temporary rules up on the screen for everyone to observe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it.
att.net. Can we just read it?
Jeff, that's what it is. Distraction, it just.
I can make it.
But you know, I can.
Accepted the rule of the rules, right?
Some people want to read it.
Don't worry, guys, I get you.
Maybe more. I didn't talk, I listened.
You remember Jeff? I drug him up there.
Oh, it was when you had the rodeo guy, right? Last year.
The rodeo guy.
I'm not against an open ballot.
Yeah. Muddies the water.
Why? I know how I'm gonna vote, so is everybody in this room that knows.
The only reason they want to know is so that they can seek retribution.
Yeah, but how about the other way around? How about knowing who's the snake in the grass that hasn't said anything? I'm happy about it.
understand that. But
I mean,
but
how,
they have more ability to.
I want to see how American this one runs.
Well, you know what? Let's put this book really on.
Let's see.
Johnny Ardibango didn't show up. That's a big decision.
Word.
Okay, Mark.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I have attention, please? A reminder, guests, please make your way to the back. Of the front chair should only be for the precinct chairs. Precinct chairs only, the forward seats. Guests in the back, please. Thank you.
Just as girls from 40 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Precinct chair?
No, I'm helping him out.
She's not occupying a seat.
Guess I have to get back there.
Thanks, Michael.
Joe, did you organize this thing? No, sir. You need to give a little more organization into it. Yeah, it is. I don't care about this resolution. I'll vote I gladly put my name against Straus in public. I heard it in the newspaper. Secretly or publicly, I'm against Straus. Publicly.
Look here.
We were supposed to have copies of the resolution.
Can you like turn it so that it's not on
Check with all my stuff. If you do,
You got it. Video. I'll be right back.
You have it on your phone? Can you just dictate it to me?
I have 8 hard copies. If anyone wants to read the copies, I have 8 that we can pass out while they're putting them up on the screen.
And then you can share.
Long time ago, not to depend on anyone else. China? How are you?
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Nathan, I like the camera stand.
Number 3 has been changed.
2 bites are better than 3.
Yeah.
Well, the little spot there for your finger is you don't have to actually touch the screen while you're trying to go. Once you have yeah. Prevents those live streams if you sign someone's screen.
Hi, Mom. Better yet, hi, Dad. Read and share. Would anyone like a hard copy to read and share? There you go. I know, as soon as we do it. You can read it, man. Post it up there on the web right now. We're on Facebook Live. Are we doing Facebook Live? Are we?
I've been on the internet now for about the last 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, it's a good looking face.
Try not to say anything too embarrassing right now. Let's see how it comes off.
Should have done reverted with my mom.
Yeah.
Hello.
That's because I'm an IHG member.
Hello.
Stand up if you
Point
have
of
to.
inquiry, if we only have an hour to do this, we've already used up half of it.
That's the idea.
The time limit will start when the debate begins on the resolution.
Hey, I like it.
Okay, are we ready?
Yeah, I'm just making it bigger.
Okay. Can everyone read the proposed rule changes? Temporary rule.
Increase the font. Mark, increase the font.
Okay, I will read them one more time. Rule number 1, the voting will be by ballot.
If you can.
Number 2, debate shall be limited to 5 speakers in favor of the resolution and 5 speakers against the resolution. Each speaker shall be limited to 3 minutes each. No delegates may speak more than once on the resolution without general consent. Number 3 was voted, was changed to, there would be no amendments, it would be an up or down vote. Number 4, the motion form shall be used when making amendments to the motion. And number 5, maximum time limit for this resolution is 1 hour. Ms. Brown had moved to she had said the rule number 1 be changed to strike the ballot vote and amend with a roll call vote and get all the CEC on record. We had 1 in favor, which was Ms. Brown. Do we have someone opposed to that? Please state your name and precinct number.
Mr. Chairman, I am Warrington Lee Osterman, precinct 4198. I object to Ms. Brown's motion on the basis that we are bringing forth a claim against an individual, not an issue. And when we bring an issue forth against an individual, a secret ballot is important to ensure that we do not set ourselves up for retaliation by others in the future. Currently, it is being considered whether or not the next legislature in the House decides whether or not to vote for their speaker by a secret ballot, and I think we need to abide by that logic.
Thank you very much. Do we have someone else in favor of the motion?
Move the question. I'm in favor of it. James Duncan, precinct 3136.
We have a previous question has been called. To call the previous question will end all debate. William had called the previous.
Yield the floor.
Yield the floor. Okay, would you please go to the mic? Can you bring the mic to him?
It's wired.
My name is James Duncan. Precinct 3136. My great uncle was William McKinley, 25th President of the United States. I've been a Republican for 76 years. And I know what I'm talking about. I say you should go on record with your name because you just got to read your resolution. It has a lot of inflammatory words in there, which will be considered defamation. And number two, there are errors in there. A call special session cannot bring up other extraneous bills. So you're making false accusations based on inaccurate information. And it makes no sense to kill a man who's already said he's leaving. That's all I got to say.
Is there anyone else against the motion to strike the ballot vote with a roll call vote and to get the CEC on record?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Finger.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Jack Finger, 4157. I'm against the motion as brought forward. I think it should be a secret ballot for all the reasons that we normally have a secret ballot. And bear in mind, we normally care either way. I would proudly say that I, Jack Finger, am against Mr. Straus. I think he should be stricter. I think the whole world want to know that. However, those who are more private in their attitudes, I think they should be respected, and I think they should have the benefit of a secret ballot. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry. In favor of the motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I might speak to that.
I'm back with Chair, so go ahead.
No worries. Thank you, sir. Precinct 3104, Colonel Nelson. Sorry.
I'm sorry, Mr. Moody is against the motion. He's in favor of the motion.
I was going to call the previous question.
You were going to call the previous question.
Second.
Okay.
Let him speak.
I second that.
Let him speak.
You said 343.
Yes.
This is the last.
The previous question has been called. It takes 2/3 of a vote to end debate. All those in favor of ending debate, stand up, count off, and sit down.
Starting from where?
Before we do so, the voting strength now is 101 precinct chairman. We need 67 in favor to stop debate, to end debate. Okay, we'll start here at the front.
1, 2,
3,
4,
5,
6,
7,
8,
9,
10,
11,
12, 13,
14, 15,
16,
17,
18,
19,
20, 21,
23,
24,
25,
26,
27,
28, 29, 30,
31,
32, 33,
34,
35.
36, 37, 38, 39,
40, 41, 41, 42, 43, 44,
5,
45,
46,
47,
48,
49,
50,
51,
52,
53,
54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60,
61,
62,
63.
Okay. behind you.
64.
65.
67. And the CA.
Motion passed.
We're there.
Yes, we have them. More. 69?
70. Okay, there is set. Okay. All those opposed, please stand up, count off, and sit down.
One.
No, over here.
Okay, over to the right. Good.
Explain what we're voting.
Okay, we're voting those against the amendment to call the question. All those opposed to calling the question, please stand up, count off, and sit down. And we have one over here for Mr. Duncan. And let us proceed from there.
2.
3.
4.
5.
6.
7. 8.
10. 11.
12.
13. 14. 15.
16.
17. 18.
19.
I heard 19. Is there 20? Okay. 70 in favor, 19 opposed. The amendment carries. The motion to end debate carries. Thank you all very much. We'll get this right sooner or later. The original motion is on the floor. All those in favor of striking Rule 1 to change the ballot vote with a roll call vote to get the CEC on record, please say aye. Aye. Opposed to Rule 1 to change and strike the ballot and to continue with a vote on record by ballot, say nay. Nay. The nays have it. The amendment fails. Okay, now are you ready for the vote on the amendments as read? The voting shall be by ballot. Number 2, debate shall be limited to 5 speakers in favor of the resolution and 5 speakers against the resolution. Each speaker shall be limited to 3 minutes each. No delegate may speak more than once on the resolution without general consent. Number 3 has been struck. Number 4, the motion form shall be used when making amendments to the motion. And number 5, maximum time limit for this resolution is for 1 hour. All those in favor of the rule changes signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no.
No.
The ayes have it.
Point of order, number 4 was also stricken at the same time as number 3.
Yes.
Oh, well taken. Number 4 is not necessary because it was stricken with number 3. All those in favor of the number 4 that was stricken along with number 3 say aye. Aye. Opposed, no.
No.
The motion carries. Okay, we are ready to.
Mr. Chairman?
Thank you, Eno.
We are ready to begin on the hearing of. The rules are now in effect.
Mr. Chairman, Mike O'Donnell, Precinct 2087.
Mr. O'Donnell.
I move to adopt the resolution of censure of Joseph R. Straus III and view the accompanying short videos.
Okay, we have the motion of the resolution on the floor to censure Joseph R. Straus III with the accompanied videos. Do we have a second on the motion?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, and it has been properly seconded. Mr. Mike, would you please read the resolution, and can we put the resolution up on the screen?
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. Bexar County Executive Committee resolution to censor Joseph R. Straus III. Whereas Rule 44 of the Republican Party of Texas allows the party to sanction a Republican office holder who takes 3 or more actions during a biennium in opposition to the core principles of the Republican Party of Texas platform. And whereas Representative Joseph R. Straus III as
the 17 members of the House of Representatives. And whereas the 85th legislative session, during the 85th legislative session, Straus repeatedly refused to recognize proper motions and amendments made by the people's duly elected representatives, only allowing motions and amendments to proceed when he consented to their substance. Likewise, Speaker Straus set aside parliamentary procedure to deny representatives the right to appeal his parliamentary rulings. And whereas such actions impede and make a mockery of representative government and thereby contradict the principles enshrined in the Texas Constitution and in opposition to the first and fourth core principles of the Republican Party of Texas, removing the people from control of their government through the representatives by sabotaging those representatives' sworn duty to control the legislature through orderly motions and votes, and thereby violating the third core principle of the Republican Party of Texas. And whereas Speaker Straus acted during the 85th legislative session in opposition to the second core principle of the Republican Party of Texas by repeatedly obstructing legislation designed to protect the right to life, the foremost right for which governments are established to protect. And whereas for the 85th legislature, he appointed as chairman of the Texas House State Affairs Committee, State Representative Byron Cook, who has been outspoken in his defense of certain third trimester abortions, who repeatedly killed pro-life bills with likely majority support in past regular sessions, with many pro-life bills referred by the Speaker to Cook's committee blocked, including amongst these House Bill 14 during the first called session, which Cook obstructed administratively for 17 days, causing its demise. And whereas Speaker Straus acted repeatedly during the 85th legislative session in opposition to the seventh core principle of the Republican Party of Texas by obstructing legislation designed to secure the freedom of choice for Texas parents in the education of their children. Appointed as chairman of the House Public Education Committee, State Representative Dan Huberty, who has vociferously opposed all legislation that would give parents choice in their child's education. And whereas after his appointment, Huberty publicly announced all school choice bills, quote, dead on arrival, end quote, in his committee. Yet Straus proceeded to refer all bills giving greater parental choice in education to Huberty's committee. Huberty and Speaker Straus did proceed to kill such bills, including legislation designed to give greater choice to the parents of children with special needs. And whereas Speaker Straus has taken actions in opposition to the 6th, 8th, and 9th core principles of the Republican Party of Texas by unilaterally obstructing the Texas Privacy Act, legislation designed to protect the privacy, safety, and dignity of Texas women and children, and honor the principles of the free market by refusing to refer the bill to any committee for the duration of the regular session and refusing to allow members to make motions to refer the bill themselves. And whereas Texas House Rule 13, Section 2 provides that, quote, Senate bills announced in the House as passed shall be read for the first time and referred to the appropriate committee as soon as practicable, end quote. And Texas House Rule 7 reserves to the members of the House the right to refer and re-refer bills to a committee of the body's choosing. And resolved, in accordance with Rule 44 of the Rules of the Republican Party of Texas, the Executive Committee of the Republican Party of Bexar County, meeting December 11, 2017, a quorum being present by a vote of at least 2/3 present and voting, hereby censure Joseph R. Straus III, a public office holder representing a portion of Bexar County, and be it further resolved, we request that the State Republican Executive Committee and the delegates to this next state convention of the Republican Party of Texas concur in this resolution of censure and impose on Joseph R. Straus III the penalties provided in Rule 44 of the Rules of the Republican Party of Texas, and be it further resolved that an official copy of this resolution be prepared and transmitted to the chairman of the Republican Party of Texas. Mr. Chairman, I would like to move to the first video. The first video will show...
Mr. Chairman, parliamentary inquiry.
Would you please go to the microphone?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kurt Nelson, Precinct 3104. I rise to ask a parliamentary inquiry question. It is my understanding with Roberts that resolutions must be in writing, and I do not understand how a video can be in writing. And I believe I'm correct in that Roberts specifically speaks to it being in writing.
Videos.
I saw this. I saw what was presented in writing.
In writing.
I'm just questioning, is a video...
Mr. Nelson has the floor.
That's my question.
Could you please repeat your question?
Okay, we've seen the resolution in writing. Roberts, it's my understanding, Roberts says the resolution must be in writing, which we've seen. And my question is, how can a video represent, I mean, I don't know who's, I mean, is a video appropriate in a resolution according to Roberts? So that's my question for you and our parliamentarian.
Anybody get a printer?
After conferring with the parliamentarian, we believe it adds to the credibility of the resolution.
I believe I can show in Roberts where it says the main motion must be in the form of written communication. It was, but the video is not. So this is not a resolution. The video is not a resolution. The resolution is before us, but a video is not a resolution. I'm calling for let's move forward with the debate on the resolution and not to have the video.
There you go. Now that the chicken's on the
That's my parliamentary question, yeah. The resolution is before us. A video, maybe that is something that could be presented during debate.
Mr. Nelson, if you would put that in the form of a motion, then we will go ahead and we'll debate that, and we'll let the delegates.
Why don't we move to debate?
That's just what we have. If you put
Okay,
that,
I would move that we move to debate and not view the video.
you got to put that in. We have a move. You put that in writing.
It has to be put in writing.
We can go and vote on it while it's sitting.
This first motion needs to be put in writing.
The motion on the floor is to move to strike the videos. Is that correct?
It is. And move to debate. So that is the motion, is to move to debate on the resolution that's been properly presented in written format and not have the video.
Would you write that, please, Kurt?
What did it matter to break? Hurry, right. We all resemble that. What a motley crew of ancient evidentiary information necessary to make a decision on the resolution.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor, and the motion on the floor is the video should not be shown as we proceed to debate. Do we have a second on the motion?
Second.
Okay. Do you wish to speak to your motion?
6 minutes and
I do. If I can speak to my motion, Mr. Chairman. The resolution that's been presented, Roberts calls for resolutions in the format of whereases and be it resolved. The whereases do not necessarily have to be in there, but it's appropriate for the whereases to be in there. So Robert's calls for a main motion and a resolution to be whereases be it resolved. The video is not part of the motion we're voting on. I can't vote on a video without having the transcript of the whole video as well. So the video could be part of the debate. If somebody wants to spend their 5 minutes showing the video during debate, that would be a call for certainly you, Mr. Chairman. I'm in support of the motion to move to debate and not watch the video.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Do we have anyone opposed? Jeff Judson?
Jeff Judson, Precinct 3020. As I stated, when I asked that there be no amendments so that we could get on with the business at hand, I've talked about this being more like a criminal indictment where you have carefully worded phrases with footnotes and evidence to support the findings. These videos are very, very important evidence. It is word for word, live video that was taped during debate that is evidence that stands behind this resolution, and it should be seen. It is informative to the body to make sure that we feel comfortable about our vote, and I think it should be shown. And I think this is a dilatory tactic. We're going to just drag this out, and we ought to just show the videos and vote, and we can all go home.
Mr. Chairman, I move we suspend the rules necessary to proceed with showing the videos.
Would you please?
Sure.
They can't motion. There's a motion for debate.
Mr. Chairman, the main motion has not been seconded, so we cannot proceed until it is ready to be heard.
The main motion was seconded.
I never heard it seconded. Thank you.
I second
Chris.
Okay, we have pro, con. We need another pro for the suspension of showing the video.
Stephen Mallett, Precinct 3099. We just voted on the rules, and I don't see in the rules that we voted on anything about videos. It was talking about the motion, about how many people for and against, and the videos were not mentioned in anything that we voted on for rules.
We need another. State your name and precinct number.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Billy Carlisle, Precinct 4051. I rise in opposition to this motion. The original motion was that we see a video along with the reading of the motion itself, and in my opinion, my humble and non-official parliamentary opinion, the video itself is just another whereas. There is no difference except that this is now positive proof. The video adds to the argument in favor of the motion and was in fact included in the original motion.
Thank you.
Chair.
You can only speak once to the motion.
I rise to make a substitute motion. I would like to, Jeff Judson, Precinct 3020, I'd like to offer a substitute motion.
Out of order.
Excuse me, I'd like to offer a substitute motion that the body consent to the showing of the videos as part of the reading of the resolution.
Let's vote.
And I call the previous question.
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Chairman.
You have already spoken.
I spoke for the motion, but I've got parliamentary inquiry.
Okay, what is your parliamentary inquiry?
According to Roberts and resolutions, and I'm just reading from Chapter 3, it says a resolution is a formal way. Chapter 3, under resolutions, presenting business to the Assembly. It says a resolution is a formal way of presenting the motion. It is a main motion, needs a second, and is handled like any other main motion, except that it is always presented in writing. what Michael has presented here was presented in writing. The video is not being presented in writing. I'm just appealing that we follow parliamentary procedure.
Give it up, it's not worth
Mr. Chairman, Justin Nichols from 2051. I doubt anyone here came without strong feelings, and we don't need our pound of flesh on the screen. So with that, I would ask that any videos be submitted into the record without being played. We end debate and move to the previous question and get this over with.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I rise, make a motion to suspend the rules to enable temporarily suspend the rules to enable the playing of videos as written.
I second that.
There's a motion on the floor, and you called the previous question.
The videos can go in the record. Let's just vote on this.
Okay, all those in favor of ending debate on showing the videos?
Wait. What is that? Debate to show or not to show?
Okay, we're gonna make sure we got this right. Okay, the motion on the floor.
About the acting of the video.
Phil, we don't need them. We don't need them, Phil.
Okay, the motion on the floor was any videos be committed to the record without playing to the end of the debate, and move to the previous question, and that was by...
Mr. Chairman.
Wait a second. Mr. Nelson, where is your... Okay, the motion on the floor...
We'll scrap. Mr. Chairman.
The motion...
Let's do
Will you please come to the microphone?
Mr. Chairman, Cheryl Hagenson, Precinct 3028. A question is before the body to our parliamentarian. Please have the parliamentarian rule. Please have him come to the mic and rule on the Roberts procedure.
The parliamentarian cannot rule. I'm the only one who can rule.
Okay, then please have him advise you so that you can rule on what's actually in Robert's Rules of Order.
I believe in anarchy. Let's just go for it.
Okay, the original motion on the floor was that the resolution be read and the video be shown. That motion was properly seconded. And the motion and the resolution was read and the video was not shown.
Mr. Chairman.
And the motion and the video was not shown because of a motion brought by Mr. Nelson to request that the video not be shown, and we proceed to debate. Mr. Mike was in the middle of finishing the presentation when this motion was made. The motion, the video, adds credibility of the resolution. I believe it is a part of and should be shown. And that is my ruling on the floor.
Can you explain that again? So we're not voting on.
We're going back to the original motion.
Not voting on my motion. And we're going back to the original motion.
This is where it got convoluted. Mr. Mike.
I waited until Mike finished reading his resolution, and when he finished reading his resolution, then I asked for a point of inquiry about the appropriateness of the video. And then that's when I made my motion.
And then we were going back. His original motion was to read the resolution and show the videos. Right. And it was properly seconded.
That's right.
It was was seconded,
That was the motion, it was properly seconded.
but we did not vote on that.
No, because that is the presentation to the body. Then, after that presentation was made, then the body debates for, against, for, against, for, against. And the motion goes to Mr. Mike.
What was the original motion? I call the question to the original motion. I call the question.
That was the original motion. The video adds credibility to the resolution. And I believe it's a part of it and should be shown.
Yeah.
It's a ruling from the chair.
You can appeal the decision of the chair.
I do appeal the decision of the chair.
Show me the video.
Okay, the appeal to the chair has been stated. The reason why I am in favor of showing the video is because the motion was properly put on the floor, asking for the video to be read, and, for the resolution to be read and the video to be shown. It was properly seconded. I asked Mr. Mike to read his resolution and show the video. And then, at that time, is when you came forward. Mr. Nelson.
Just to clarify.
Now you are...
I've still got a parliamentary inquiry, so my original parliamentary inquiry was Roberts is very specific about saying it must be in writing. Is a video in writing? And where are we at from a parliamentary procedure with Roberts? It says very explicitly it must be in writing. So
A lot further along than we were 2 meetings ago.
Okay, anyone?
So that's my parliamentary question that I fundamentally...
I call for a question on the
We have to take
ruling,
the appeal first.
question on the rule of the appeal.
I stated my reasons why for it. You state your reasons against it. And anyone else against it, please state their reasons, and then we'll vote on it.
My reason against it, is that what you're asking for me?
Yes.
I don't think the video follows Robert's rule of order.
Speaking more than once.
Yes.
Sit down. Speaking more than once.
Sit down.
Let's give it the floor. Okay, is there anyone, is there anyone in favor?
We call the
Okay,
question
go
on
on.
the original
Respectfully,
motion.
Mr. Chairman, one of the concerns that I have is I've not seen a resolution where the proponents of the resolution have an unlimited amount of time to present whatever amount of so-called evidence that they want. And while some may fancy themselves some sort of special prosecutor and before some sort of jury, this is not what this is. This is a written resolution. The good members of this committee have the discretion, the knowledge, and the ability to make their own judgment, and they don't need an hour-long presentation before then we're limited to those who might oppose it to 3-minute increments debate. And not on this, sir. And this is where you can stand if you'd like to address the body.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
In any event, respectfully, Mr. Chairman, I would agree with the
You're still speaking
gentleman.
to the order. You're originally speaking to the motion that's on the floor, and you're speaking more than once.
I believe that the chair has not recognized my motion to move to the previous question, so I'm not speaking.
You were speaking on the motion.
And addressing the chair, sir, not those commenting from the gallery, I would say, Mr. Chairman, that we overrule respectfully the decision.
Okay, we just limit the debate back and forth to us.
Mr. Chairman.
Would you go to the microphone, please? Are you in favor of the motion or are you against the motion?
Point of order.
Okay, we are talking about the appeal.
Grant Moody, 3174. Point of order. The previous question has been called on the appeal of the decision of the chair. We should vote.
That's it. Thank you. Question.
Okay, the previous question has been called of the appeal to the chair.
I'm Ken Mutzler, 4034.
Yes, sir.
As I sit here and I think about this resolution, we're going to either vote for or vote against the resolution. We're not going to vote for or vote against the video and adopt the video one way or the other or turn it down. The resolution is the business that we're here for. So let's forget the resolution, the video, and go on with the resolution. We're not gonna adopt the video. We're not gonna vote down the video. We're voting on the resolution. Let's go forward with the resolution.
Okay. We have, is there anyone else in favor? Mr. Moody had called the previous question. Second. It's been seconded. All those in favor of ending debate signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no.
No!
The ayes have it. The debate is ended. Now we go back to the videos will be heard.
Mr. Chair, I had appealed the decision of the chair.
You appealed, but you voted on
Okay, the appeal of the decision of the chair was made and we took a vote on it. We took a vote to end debate. Now, all those in favor of upholding the chair to allow the video to be viewed to add credibility to the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. No! The ayes have it. The videos will be shown.
Can I start?
Okay, we have division of the House.
What is the notice that was just given to the
Please turn off the video. We have a division of the House. All those in favor of viewing the video, which adds credibility to the resolutions, please stand, count off, and sit down.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
8, 9,
10, 11, 12,
13, 14,
15,
16, 17, 18,
19,
20,
21.
22,
23, 24,
25, 26,
27,
28, 29,
30,
31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37,
38, 39,
40,
41, 42, 43, 44, 45,
46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 60.
We have 67 in favor. All those opposed, please stand, count off, and sit down.
1,
2,
I'm sorry.
Two.
Start again, please.
1, 2,
3, 4,
5,
6,
7,
8, 9,
10, 11, 12,
13,
14, 15, 16, 17, 18,
19, 20,
21,
22, 23, 24.
67 against 24. The videos will be shown.
parliamentary inquiry? first 14 days.
Take a vote,
It has been voted out of committee, and for some reason, the paperwork has not made it to the calendars committee.
Mr. Stickland, this question's been answered earlier today.
Mr. Speaker, it has not.
Mr. Stickland, this question's been answered earlier today.
Mr. Speaker, it has not. And what I would like to know, parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker,
state your inquiry.
What can the members do to make Chairman Cook get the paperwork to the calendars committee? He's had it for 14 days.
Mr. Stickland, that's the same question I was asked earlier today.
Do you have an answer today?
The chair responded earlier today to the same question.
Mr. Speaker, parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Are you aware that on average it takes about a day and a half to get paperwork from one committee that meets in this building to another committee that meets in the same building? And that House Bill 14, which is on the governor's call, has taken 14 days for the paperwork to, and we still don't have it in calendars?
I'm sorry, I missed the inquiry there.
Mr. Speaker, do you think that that's acceptable?
Arrogant.
That's not a proper parliamentary inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, for 14 days, that bill has been in no man's land. Are you aware that there are 80 co-authors of House Bill 14, more than what is needed to pass the bill?
Mr. Stickland, that's not a proper parliamentary inquiry.
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry.
Are you aware that there are 80 co-sponsors on House Bill 14?
Chair is not advised.
Would you believe me if I told you there are? And have them right here?
I certainly believe you. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is there any procedural move that we can do to get Chairman Cook of the State Affairs to act on this bill and do his duty and give it to calendars?
Mr. Stickland, I again would advise you to speak to the chairman and to the parliamentarians.
Mr. Speaker, some of us think that the chairman is speaking very loudly by holding on to this bill for 14 days when there are 80 co-sponsors who say they want to support this bill that's on the governor's call. Are there any procedural moves that we can do to force Chairman Cook to submit the paperwork?
Thank you, Mr. Stickland.
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry.
Is there anything procedurally we can do to get Chairman Cook to send the paperwork to calendars that was voted upon 14 days ago?
Mr. Stickland, that's, I think, the fourth time you've asked the same question.
You haven't answered it, Mr. Speaker.
The chair answered the question earlier today.
What was the answer, sir? Could you please repeat it for me?
As always, Mr. Stickland, members need to work with other members and with the chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, what do we do when it's very apparent that the chairman does not want to work with us, or the 80 people who support the bill publicly?
Again, Mr. Stickland, I'd advise you to go speak.
Mr. Speaker, is there any procedural move that we could remove a chairman or put in a temporary chairman so that they can act and do the people's business?
No.
Could you do it, Mr. Speaker?
I would advise you to speak to the parliamentarians if there is some parliamentary question that you have for them.
Mr. Speaker, is a committee chairman removable at will by the speaker at any point?
Not by the speaker, no.
Do the rules permit you to do it if you so choose, Mr. Speaker?
Mr. Stickland, I think we've had enough of this conversation.
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry.
Did you select Byron Cook as the chairman of State Affairs who has sat on House Bill 14 for 14 days?
Thank you, Mr. Stickland. Members, if you have any further announcements, bring them down front.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Stickland, for
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Did you appoint Chairman Cook to Chairman of State Affairs?
I think clearly the answer is yes. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, is there anyone else on the State Affairs Committee that could get the paperwork to the Calendars Committee on the governor's priority that has 80 co-authors on it?
Mr. Stickland, again, I would urge you to work with the chairman and the members of the committee if you have questions or concerns.
Mr. Speaker, have you asked him to move it?
That's not a proper parliamentary inquiry. Chair, can I ask Representative Herrera?
Small.
State your question.
I'll make this quick today. Is the chair aware that elections and land resource management committees who've received 3 of the governor's bills as referrals have yet to have a hearing or even schedule a hearing yet, sir?
Mr. Tenderall, that's not a parliamentary inquiry.
Is there anything in the rules that gives us, the body, a way to compel these 2 committees to act on the governor's priority bills that have been referred?
We'd urge you to go talk to the chairman of those committees.
Mr. Speaker, is there anything our body can do? I'm asking the parliamentarian, asking you with all due respect, Mr. Speaker, is there anything in the rules that allow us to do this as a body?
Again, I would urge you to go talk to the chairman of those committees.
Mr. Speaker, parliamentary inquiry.
State your question.
I'm asking a question for the benefit of the members, and I really, going to talk to the members, I don't think that that's the answer that the body is looking for. There are many members of the body that want this legislation to come to the floor, and our fear is that this stuff's being held up in the committees, and we're asking, is there anything that we, the body, the members, can do to compel these committees to act on the bills that the governor has asked us to come here and spend over $1 million in taxpayer dollars to come here and act on these?
Mr. Tenderhold, I would then urge you to talk to the authors of the bills that you're referring to.
Mr. Speaker, this is pertaining strictly to the rules of the House. I'm asking you and the parliamentarian, are you refusing to answer this question today, sir?
Well, it's unusual that someone who's not the author of the bills in question would be at the mic asking. I would refer you to the authors of those bills that you're concerned about.
Mr. Speaker, I understand that you think it's unusual, but I've left my family and my job to come here for 30 days to do these priority items, and so have the members of this House. And the fact that you smirk and act like I think it's disrespectful to the body, Mr. Speaker, I think it's important that we compel these people to act on these bills, and I'm asking you as the leader of the House, how can we compel these committees to act on these bills?
Mr. Tenderhold, we are proceeding under the House rules that the members have adopted.
So, Mr. Speaker, we have 2 committees sitting on items the governor's asked us to work on. I'm asking if there's any rules, the body, a way to compel action, and you're refusing to answer my questions with a rule that I can use to compel the body, Mr. Speaker.
I'd urge you to come talk to the parliamentarian to have a discussion about the rules that you think should be considered.
Mr. Speaker.
Strike 2.
Not my American.
Please turn the lights on. Mike, could you please give me your last name again?
O'Donnell.
O'Donnell. Okay. Do you wish to speak to your resolution?
I do, Mr. Chairman. My fellow precinct chairman, I'd like you to reflect back to the same meeting this body had back in July. At that meeting, we made and passed a resolution recommending a change in the leadership of the speakership of the Texas State House. Now, that resolution fell short of a Rule 44 censure, but it sent a clear message. And that message resulted in a number of stories in media throughout the state, and also initiated a cascade of subsequent resolutions by county Republican parties throughout Texas to the tune of dozens. 65, that's 5 dozen. However, the only county that really counts is this one, because this county is the district or the area to which Mr. Straus has been elected to represent part of this county. Therefore, our resolution would be the only one that would count to the SREC, or the state convention. And I would like to, I'm glad that Chairman, Mr. Chairman, that you allowed us to see the videos, because it puts in living color for all of us to see how it is possible to abuse power. And I feel fairly comfortable in saying that I believe our founders would have classified Speaker Straus's behavior in those 2 videos as tyranny.
Yes.
Here, 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 here.
finished? Thank you.
And so, I would like to appeal to each of you to find it in your heart, for the sake of the people of Texas, whose will has been thwarted and suppressed by this man, Speaker Straus, and his tactics for 10 years. But we're only looking at the last two. This one's only for the last two, the biennium, the current biennium. And vote yes in favor of the amendment to censure the Rule 44. Thank you, Mr.
Richard McDonald, 2134. I'm speaking against the resolution.
Could you please go to the mic and state your name one more time, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. Richard McDonald, 2134. I'm speaking against it. I came to the meeting in October to vote for what would be this resolution because I found Speaker Straus arrogant and contemptuous of the party platform and his fellow Republicans. He is not running anymore. It becomes a moot point. It becomes something to show ideological purity. And when you do that, eventually you demand such purity that only you and I are pure enough. Everybody else is a rhino. This does nothing but split the party for no reason. Straus is no longer going to be in the legislature. It will only split the party. What does that mean? Liberal Democrats will win. Do you think they will do anything good on abortion for the business and prosperity of the state? Do you think they will support the family, educational choice, any of those issues? And the answer is a resounding no. You may feel glory and light in being bathed in the light of your ideological pure halo, but the Republican Party, Texas, and the United States will be cast into outer darkness of the liberal democratic hell. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. The timer, I need to ask the timer, you need to hold the...
Yeah, well, I don't have a 1 minute, I have a 2 and a 3. So after 2 minutes, I'll put this up after 3.
That wasn't 3 minutes.
No, it wasn't.
No, okay.
They have 2 minutes for 3. I'm going.
Yeah, I just haven't seen any signs coming here. Do we have someone else in favor?
I speak in favor. I'm Jeff Judson, precinct 3020. This motion is not about punishing Joe Straus. Joe Straus is not running for re-election for House District 121. However, this is a message to the state of Texas that we stand for our platform and we stand against anyone who would single-handedly thwart the passage of the bills called for in the platform. Joe Straus has $10 million at least in his campaign account, and he has stated that he intends to stay very involved and to be a continuing force to promote his ideology in the days ahead. He may even run for office again. So this sends an important message to the voters. It sends an important message to any candidate that he may choose to give part of his $10 million to. It sends a very important message to any entity or organization that promotes Joe Straus's messages, that he has been repudiated by the Republican Party of Texas, and that they need to understand that there's baggage in association with that if they choose to promote those words or those candidates. We can all agree or disagree on issues. We can differ on important issues. But if you're a lawmaker and you single-handedly stop the enactment of a policy over and over again that our party stands for, you must be stopped. And Joe is not running for re-election, but he is going to be a continuing force in Texas. As a specific, I've been working to pass school choice legislation for 22 years. And I've met with the Speaker personally. And the last time I met with him, I said, Mr. Speaker, would you please simply not appoint the chairman of the committee who is hostile to school choice? What did he do? He appointed a chairman of the education committee that was hostile to school choice and would not even allow a hearing on the school choice bill that was passed by the Senate and was supported by a majority of members of the House and by our governor. The result is that literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of school children in Texas got a worse education, and they will suffer possibly for the rest of their lives because of the actions of one man. This resolution will not divide the party. It is going to heal as we move forward. We're going to move forward in unity under the party platform. We will be aligned from top to bottom, from Donald Trump all the way down, where we all support school choice. We all support the agenda of our governor, our lieutenant governor, our attorney general, etc. This will not bankrupt our party, as some people have said. Our party is already almost penniless. What is that? I have a minute left?
1 minute left. Thank you. We have 2 for and 1 against. Do we have anyone against?
Cheryl Higginson, Precinct 3028. I want to speak in terms of some of the phrases that Mr. O'Donnell referred to. I'm the most northern precinct in Joe Straus's state representative district. He has repeatedly been elected by the people of the district in an overwhelming margin, both in the primary and in the general election. He has spoken to the feelings and the principles of the people that live in that state rep district. He should not be censured. He might be questioned as far as his actions as speaker, but he should not be censured as a member of the Republican Party. And so I speak against the censure motion.
Thank you, Cheryl. We have 2 for and 2 against. Do we have anyone else for? Mr. Finger.
Mr. Chairman, Jack Finger, Precinct 4157. Republicans in name only. They are a reality, and we are trying to do something about it. Yes, Mr. Straus says he's going to leave. You realize this would not be happening unless there was an actual groundswell of people against his actions. He says he's leaving, but he says he's going to be a force. We do not want that force in our Republican Party.
No way.
Why on earth do we go to conventions? It is to pass resolutions for our platform and to establish rules for our party. Why on earth would we even bother going to conventions if we know that any conservative ideals that we put on paper are going to be thwarted by someone who does have the power to stop such things in our big state of Texas? Let that sink in. We establish rules. Finally, our party established a rule to censure persons who do not follow the Republican platform. Praise the Lord for that. Now, why not? If this is not the most appropriate example, the most appropriate time to do this, whenever shall it be? Thank you.
3 for and 2 against. Do we have someone against?
Mr. Chairman.
Would you please go to the microphone?
Thank you. Sorry. Alex Duron, Precinct 4155. I call for the question.
Are you? The rules that were set forth was 5 people for, 5 people against.
Everybody else stood up, so
We
I
have
stood up.
3 for and we have 2 against. We want to give everybody the opportunity to speak. If no one else speaks against it, the debate will be closed and the vote will be taken.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, Kurt Nelson, Precinct 3104. I speak against the resolution. And my question is, for the committee members, I do have a question. A censure in Roberts is a trial, and I think Mr. Judson mentioned that tonight, that it's a trial. If you look at Roberts, you've got investigating committees, et cetera, appointed by the chair of the EC. My question is, according to censure, the person being censured is invited to defend themselves at this meeting. And that's my question. Has that person been personally invited to the meeting this evening? I'll ask that of Michael as he put that forward as your resolution.
Part of the rules of the censure, rule number 44, to answer your question. A county or senatorial district convention or a county or district executive committee may by 2/3 of a vote of those present and voting adopt a resolution censoring a Republican public party or party office holder representing all or a portion of that county or district for 3 or more actions taken during the current biennium in opposition to the core principles of the Republican Party of Texas, defined in the preamble of the party platform described in Rule 43A. Such a resolution may include a request to the state convention or SREC that the named office holder be penalized. If such a request is included, the delegates of the state convention by a majority vote, or the state Republican Executive Committee by a 2/3 vote of the full membership, may vote to concur with the resolution of censure and declare that no rule or bylaw enacted by any division of the party at any level that demands the party be neutral in intra-party contest shall be observed with respect to the named candidate, and no financial or other support shall be provided to their campaigns by the party except that which is required by law. Any such penalty shall expire at the beginning of the state convention following its adoption. We are not bringing legal proceedings against Mr. Straus. This is a censure. The censure is a disapproval of his conduct, the way that he has treated the legislature and the body as a whole. If he wants to come and defend himself, he had the opportunity to do so. That the meeting was called and the meeting was properly advertised, and he had the opportunity. We are not violating Robert's rules. The Republican Party of Texas rules overrides Roberts, according to the beginning of the meeting that we have.
Okay. So he was not invited specifically. He was not invited specifically to the meeting, but was publicly announced. That's my question for the makers of the resolution.
Why didn't you invite him?
Okay. We have 3 for.
Why don't you invite
And we have 3 against. Is there anyone else for? Okay. Is there anyone else against? Please state your name and precinct number.
Good evening. I'm Phil Sevilla, Precinct 2115. I rise to speak for the resolution. I'd like to supplement some of the statements that were made here. There are over 80 Republican organizations, 60 counties, and the rest are Republican organizations that have passed resolutions in their counties and their organizations against Straus's egregious behavior that has been consistently over the terms of Governor Rick Perry and now Governor Abbott. I pose to you that what we're voting for tonight is not so much about Speaker Straus. It's not about retribution. It's not about vengeance. It's about justice. He has deprived many elected representatives of the House who were elected by their constituents to get the business done for their districts. He has obstructed their work in the House, as you saw Representative Tinderholt and Representative Strickland very zealously appeal to him to be reasonable. Okay, so it's not about retribution, it's about justice. And mostly, let's remember what Speaker Straus called the special priorities of the governor in the special session call. He called it a pile of manure.
That's right.
Yeah.
And what did he do? He adjourned the business of the House without deliberating over 8 of the governor's 20 priorities. While the Senate passed within the first 10 days of the special session 18 of those priorities. So I suggest to you what we're voting for tonight is in support of the governor and lieutenant governor and the Republican Party of Texas. Thank you.
We have had 4, and 3 against. Do we have someone against?
Mr. Chairman, Marion Stanko, Precinct 2110. I rise in opposition to the resolution, mainly because the Constitution and the Bill of Rights allows due process. The accused has not been invited to this meeting, and he has not been able to face his accusers. The rule has penalties which really don't apply to the chairman or the Speaker of the House, because he doesn't need our monies, does he? No. I have 2 questions for the body. How many of you have spoken to the Speaker of the House to find out why he has made his considerations? Thank you. How many of you have read the bills that y'all are considering that should have been passed? That's a little bit better. Why haven't you? I had spoken to the Speaker. I was very concerned about the voter ID bill, and I asked him, why is it not being considered? And he and I sat down and he explained to me the first bill that came out was way too strict. I read it. I couldn't have voted the way it was so egregiously written. He sent it back to the committee and asked them to rewrite it. It did not get done in time, so it had to wait till the second session. And it was so watered down that everybody could have voted. It was so weak. The third time around, it finally did pass. And I appreciated that. Unfortunately, federal judges have looked at it further. But my consideration is for election bills. That's what I focus on. Some of you focus on criminal bills or family law, things like that. So it's very important that you consider the legislation that has come out of the House, which is even more conservative than any other legislative session held in the history of Texas. Please take that into consideration, and please vote against this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. We've had 4, and 4 against. Do we have someone else in favor of the bill?
My name is Robert Von Lemden. I'm precinct chair for precinct 2037. I speak in favor of the resolution. And I guess I start with a question. What is this censure really all about? And I think it's about doing the right thing. What am I talking about? How about protecting the sanctity of life? How about our family members in public? How about protecting our family members in public restrooms and even in our own homes? How about allowing the legislative process to proceed as it should? Mr. Straus either did not do the right thing or prevented the right thing from getting done, as we've seen in all these previous presentations on these issues through the past legislative session. Why? It appears the reason is plain and simple. The money. It always comes back to the money. It is hard to do the right thing when big money's involved. But that is what needs to be done, to do the right thing. It may not be financially advantageous in the short term to do the right thing. We even find that in our own personal lives. But in the long term, the right will win out, and Texas will be respected for doing the right thing.
That's right.
Mr. Straus's history indicates he did not do the right thing, and he has indicated he will continue on that path.
Yes, it is not stopped.
Therefore, I ask you to vote in favor of the censure of Joseph Straus. Thank you very much.
Could you please repeat your name and precinct number? Could you please repeat your name and precinct number for the secretary?
Robert Von Lemden's 2037.
Could you please spell the last name?
I'll give you my card.
Okay, that was 5-4. We have 4 against. We have 1 more against.
Mr. Chairman, Vivian Brown, Precinct Chair 4066. I rise in opposition to this. I think this is ridiculous. How many of you even live in his district? Not that many. No, it's not. The voters of his district have decided overwhelmingly, repeatedly, that he is the person that they want there. It is not for us to choose. We don't get a vote for the speaker, sir, either. So for us to try to judge him here is absolutely ridiculous because most of us don't have a vote for him. Listen to the voters. Listen, look at Judge Moore. We're trying to tell these people in his state who they should vote for. And that if we don't vote for who they want, the Senate is going to kick them out. It's not their choice. The voters have spoken, and Speaker Straus is their choice. He's resigning. There's no reason for us to continue this. It's public shaming. The Straus family have been pioneers for the Republican Party. I don't know how many of you realize that without the Speaker's help,
Could we please refrain from interrupting the speaker?
without the Speaker's help, this party would be in serious jeopardy financial-wise. I can tell you, the bare news that we send out would not have gone out to 250,000 people if it was not for Speaker Straus's support of that. He has done great things for this party, and you guys are just spitting in his eye, and I find it completely appalling. I'm absolutely disgusted, and I'm just...
He bought you.
Bought me? No, Rita. I worked my ass off, and I deserve to say what I want to say.
Vulgar language.
Oh, please, come on, we're grown and Riverdale. Get over it.
You gonna follow
You
Star
guys...
Power back to the meeting in 2 seconds?
No, you're the one that jumped in my face, sir, last time.
Okay, hope I still
have a minute
please
left.
refrain from attacking any members from both sides.
Give her 1 more minute.
Okay, you have 1 more minute.
I'm sure how the vote's going to go tonight, but I had to rise up in support of Speaker Straus, and shame on you all for shaming another Republican.
Raise the swamp.
We have 5-4, and we have 5 against.
Point of inquiry.
Would you please come to the microphone? Please state your name.
We're obviously, this is
Would you
Stephen
please state your name and
Mallett,
precinct number?
3099. We're obviously over an hour. Our rules said we had an hour to do this. Since that has expired, is this meeting now over?
The debate started at what time? The debate started at 8:18, and we have 1 hour from 8:18. It is now 8:44. 8:44. Okay, the debate is over. Are you ready for the question? Okay. Would you please, can we have the tellers please come and hand out the ballots? Only those with the yellow wristband can vote.
Pretty yellow, it's kind of...
Yes, please, because I have the camera.
The tellers only can collect the ballots.
Mr. Chairman, Alan Courier, 11.
Please go to the microphone.
11. Oh, sorry. Alan Courier, precinct 1122. I need to know in our vote that we're putting on this little piece of paper, if we vote yes, it will be to censor Joe Straus. If we vote no, it'll be not to censor Joe Straus. Am I
Very
correct?
good question. Good question. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes is for the resolution to censure Joe Straus. No is against the resolution to censure Joe Straus.
Thank you.
Yes is for the censure. No is against the censure.
I guess I didn't convince you.
Okay, no one can come in and out while the voting is going on.
Have coffee.
Yeah. Point of order, Mr.
You
Chairman.
didn't know how to work on the agenda.
Please state your name and precinct number.
Cheryl Higginson, 3028 precinct. What is our voting strength at this point?
Please state that again.
What is our voting strength at this point? There are people that have left.
Madam Secretary, could you please verify the voting strength?
I suggest you proceed with that.
Okay. All those precinct chairmen that are here, please stand. Please stand, count off, and sit down. All precinct chairmen here, stand, count off, and sit down.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
9,
10,
11,
12,
13, 14, 15,
16,
17,
18, 19, 20, 21,
22,
23,
24.
25.
26.
27.
28, 29, 30,
31, 32,
33,
34, 35,
36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44,
45, 46,
47, 48,
49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55,
56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65,
66, 67,
68,
69, 70,
71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80,
81,
82, 83,
84,
85, 86, 87,
89,
91, 92.
Of course you got a best.
93.
95, 96.
Are you a precinct chairman? We have 96.
97.
You're 90,
I'm 97.
97,
I already got it. Oh, behind you.
98. Okay, the voting strength is 98.
Quorum 67.
We do have a quorum. With the tellers, are you finished voting?
Yeah.
Will the tellers please come and collect the ballots?
And who is checking?
Do you have the box?
Mm-hmm.
Will the tellers come and please collect the ballots?
Put your hands up so I can get them.
The ballots to where they're counted and show counting.
No, let her collect.
Just follow them. They show them count the ballots.
Collective, let her count.
As the tellers are counting, we would like one on the pro side to be with the count and one on the con side to be with them as they count in the back. Yes.
As long as you keep it up. You going out there to record the count?
If they'll count the ballots up here at this front table. Right here, right front.
Before the count, can we have a 1 to 5 minute?
Has everyone got the vote? Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman? The voting is over. Can precinct chairs leave the room? There's one person who did not vote. We need a ballot.
I'm bringing it up now.
Okay.
Get that.
And then we'll count them again. Is that watching for the nose? When we get to what do you think? Oh.
I'm scared that this day once they have it out.
Yes?
Is there someone observing here?
When we're ready? We're not there, almost there. So look at the tomorrow.
Yeah, start with the nose.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21? Will someone write 21? Anybody have a pen?
The recount on the precinct chairman available. The secretary counted everybody else but herself.
Is that 21?
It is 99, and we need 66 votes yes for the censure. And so while they're counting the vote, Mr. Bissett just want to make a quick announcement.
Joe Bissett, 1065. I think most people think this is good news. I was just informed as the meeting began, John Lujan will run for House District 118. Against the arresting cabal.
Also, Judge Rickoff is running against Nelson Wolf for county judge. I would be amiss to ask if we did not pass the hat and take a collection. So if the judge would come up and pass the hat. Okay, help the president with the whole thing.
10 here.
How about these?
Our expenses this evening is almost $400. We are requesting if you can help us defray the costs of us having this meeting here at Holiday Inn. That will be very much appreciated. Merry Christmas.
10.
10. Okay, so that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 8.
Just, if you just do the 10s again, so
Yeah.
whether it's 5, 6, 7.
6. What is it? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 8.
On your badges, would you be so kind as to drop them off on the way out? Laura, would you please bring the box up so we can pass that?
Save those.
Real little. We want to thank Jack for the hat.
So that's 77. Yeah, it's in guesses. It was right. So that means it's 77. Sorry. Thank you. I'm getting 77. Good job.
The watchers gave up. The observers. They're not even observing anymore. I think they mispicked their team players. Need somebody for the long haul.
Did you throw your money in there?
Best. That's what I got. Coolest dude in the room.
Where did she go?
What are you looking for?
Her.
Oh, Susie.
What? Just the one. Only one. That's good. That's
So
good. 77. Yep. Yep.
Gotta keep the conversation lively on property because nobody else will have to do it. This is from badges. I don't know if you want to pass it around.
We're going to pass the box around for the badges. Okay, are you ready for the vote now? Gavel. Okay, out of the 99 votes, we needed 66 votes for the resolution to pass. For the yes votes, we have 77. We have 21. The resolution passes. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, point of personal privilege.
Ms. Gibbons.
Betty Gibbons, precinct 3063. I want to congratulate all the precinct chairs that have come here this evening. It's taken us 3.5 years to get here, and you have finally found your courage and your convictions. Those come with costs. I hope you counted them all. I think that you have.
Here, here.
It is with great honor to make this last motion at the microphone and to be heard and probably applauded. But I do make the motion to adjourn.
We have a motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to show a short video of the Christmas address of President Trump from the White House for anybody who wants to see. A very beautiful Christmas address.
Be sure to turn in your badges. You do have to want your speaking badges. There's a box back there. Oh, the box is over there this time. The box is here for the badges. Your speaking badges. It doesn't matter where you give them. We thank you. And there are other restrooms down the hall to your left.
How do I